Can you see it? Can you see it? Alright, today is finally the day after all of the rescheduling and insurance complications. Today is finally the day that I am getting my thyroid nodule biopsy done. Hooray! Can you see it? Can you see it? Hey everybody, I just wanted to come on here quick and give everyone an update on my thyroid biopsy. While she just creeps. This is like cutting off half of my head. We're good, we'll be fine. And we're like tilted. So as you probably know by now, if I put in the footage, the little bit of footage that I got, yesterday was my thyroid biopsy. And I had planned to make this video, but I did not anticipate that by the time I made this video, I would already have the results to talk to you guys about as well. I was expecting to have to wait like till Thursday or later. I had the procedure done on Tuesday, which was yesterday. Today is Wednesday, and I already got the results, which is awesome. Thank you, God. As you can see, this is the scene of the crime. This is where they stuck me. It's starting to bruise up real good. Let's just get this out of the way. The results of the biopsy were benign. Thank you, God. Basically, if you don't know the medical terms, benign means non-cancerous, not malignant. So that is the best possible thing that we could have hoped for. There's still a question of why my lymph nodes on that side of my thyroid are swollen, but the worst case would have been thyroid cancer, that nodule was cancerous, and it is not. So everything else is just kind of like smooth sailing from here. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the procedure. What is a thyroid nodule biopsy, what it was like. I'm not gonna get into like terminology. Like this isn't like an educational, like scientific video. This is just kind of like, hey, I had this done, this is what it felt like. Chat. So basically a fine needle, I think the official term is like, well, I don't know, I said I wasn't gonna get scientific, but a fine needle biopsy is basically what I was told and what I call it, but I think it's like a fine needle aspiration biopsy, something like that. And it's an outpatient procedure. I went to the hospital, they put you in a little gown and everything, and you lay there and they do their thing. The whole procedure itself, yes. The whole procedure itself is very quick. It doesn't really feel that way when you're laying there, but it's a very quick procedure. My appointment was at 9 in the morning yesterday and was done by like I got there around 8:30, like checked in, sat down, waited about 10 minutes, he called me back, and I was like walking out by like 9:30. So I was like there a total of like an hour, which is not bad at all, and only like half of that time was actually spent like having the procedure done or being talked to by doctors and everything like that. So for those of you who may have this biopsy coming up and you're nervous, or you're just curious what it is because someone you know is getting it done, or maybe you've just been following me and you're like, what the heck even is this? Basically, this fine needle biopsy of the nodule on my thyroid. The process is it's just what it sounds like. They go in with a needle just like they would use administering shots. Just a normal needle syringe. My husband sat and got a better look at everything, but I since like looked up what they use after the fact, and basically you lay back and your neck's exposed, and they take the needle and first, this is important, they numb you up. So it's uncomfortable, but more just uncomfortable because like, I mean, it's your neck. Like you don't really want things sticking in or anything. Like your neck is just sensitive, and yeah. So first they inject you to numb you, and that's honestly the most uncomfortable part. Just feels, the doctor said it just feels kind of like a bee sting. I wouldn't even say it's that painful, but I also have a higher pain tolerance, so just a little uncomfortable, whatever, but then it's numbed like that and they get to work. How do they see the nodule? That's what I was wondering. They take like an ultrasound while they're working. So like he's actually watching the screen, like the ultrasound, to see that his needle is like getting the nodule, and then he goes in, poke, 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 and then they withdraw cells and put it on a slide. And then they go in again and poke, 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 and they do that about 3 times. Mine was 4 times just because they needed an additional sample for something, but yeah, usually I think on average it's about 3 times per like nodule. So if you're having more tested, they'll do it more, obviously. But yeah, for me it was just 4 passes in. They poke, 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 move, poke, 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 and put him on the slide, and then I think it's called a pathologist looks at it and says, yep, like you've got enough cells. Not all places do this, but I'm really glad my hospital did, because if you don't have a pathologist there like checking to confirm that you have enough cell samples to actually test if there's cancer, and you didn't have good enough samples, you actually have to go back and do the whole process over again. So it's really nice when the hospital has a pathologist there, because they can confirm right then and there, and so you don't have to worry about going in all over again. If they didn't get adequate samples, you're already there and numbed up, so they'll just go in again and try again. So the overall experience was not super uncomfortable. I will say though, they weren't able to completely numb like the entire, I don't know if it was just like the entire nodule or what, because most of the time it was just like, oh, you know, you feel a little pressure, whatever. Like again, it's just kind of like unsettling, but not really painful. But when he was like angled up this way, poking, I could feel it, and it didn't feel good. And when you're laying there, you're not supposed to swallow, you're not supposed to talk, make noise, anything. But he said, if you feel stinging, like let me know. So I like waited and waited until he got the sample, and then I said, I can feel that a little bit. Stella, please. Every time I film, I'm not even kidding you, almost every single time she finds her way in and keeps me company. Oh, now we're all askew. I think that's where you were at. So anyway, he told me, let me know if it's uncomfortable, and I told him, like, at first I thought, okay, maybe this is just like how it feels, but then like when he went for the second pass, I was like, and so I told him, and he's like, okay, we'll numb you up again. So he injected me again to numb me up again. Still didn't work, but at that point we were almost done. He had collected half of the samples already, so I just kind of like grit my teeth and bear it. And even that, it was a bearable pain, but like I said, it was kind of like a big adrenaline rush, because you got a needle in your neck, like I don't know how else to put it. So it's just uncomfortable, I think is the best word to describe it. But I'm just blown away. I'm amazed that the medical field is where it's at, where you can have someone with a needle in your neck, like rooting around, withdrawing cells for a sample to test for cancer, and you virtually don't really feel anything. Like that to me is amazing. So yes, that was my experience. I afterward had, I think, more pain than probably the average person experiences, just because like this whole area didn't feel like it got numbed at all. So like you do get sore as the numbing solution, I don't know what you call it, the numbing medicine wears off, but because there was a big section that was getting irritated and I could feel it and also wasn't numb, like I got sore pretty quickly, but it wasn't even enough for me to take ibuprofen or anything like that. And again, I have a higher pain tolerance, but it wasn't bad. I just took it easy, and yeah, now it's forming a decent bruise, which is kind of satisfying, right? Like you go through something that's kind of painful, and you kind of want like the battle scars to prove it, so it doesn't seem like you're just a wuss and you're just like making it up. We're at an angle. We've been at an angle this whole time. Oh, sorry guys that you're like leaning. So that was my experience basically. It's nothing super exciting. Again, I got my results, I think, faster than people can expect to get the results. They told me like 2 to 3 days is what the nurse said. My endocrinologist had said like 3 to 5 days, and I got my results faster than anybody said, which is usually not my experience. Usually I feel like I'm waiting longer, like waiting for my leg biopsy results. That took way longer, so maybe I was just due to get some results quicker this time, I don't know. But yes, it took less than 24 hours and I had my results, so that is awesome. If you have any questions that you want more details or whatever about what I went through, my procedure, anything like that, feel free to let me know, email me, comment, whatever. But if you've got this procedure coming up, don't stress yourself out about it. It's really, you got it. If you're like me and you have anxiety, you're probably going to imagine it worse than it's actually going to be. So there she is, there she blows. No cancer in there, that nodule is benign, yo.